everybody, and welcome to another edition of Elevate Your Grind. Oh yeah, and by the way, we are live. Sorry, I'm thrown off a bit. It's actually 5 o'clock. We're starting the show on time. This might be a first in the 6-7 month history of this show. Usually we're like 5:02, 5:04, 5:07, and shockingly, we've had no technical difficulties. So we're here. We're on time. Be happy. Folks, what day is today? Today is Wednesday, so we're on episode 3 of our 4 episodes this week. Tomorrow, we're going to record Erica Daniels' episode because it is right during our legal panel, but you should definitely check out that legal panel. Join us at www.joinclab.com. Register for the event. Again, Robert, I'm sorry. I know it's got a fancy title. You worked very hard on coming up with it, but it's our legal update. Some of the top lawyers from around the country will be joining us, give you a state of the union on what's going on in the cannabis industry and really what you need to look forward to understand how to navigate the next few months. It's going to be a great panel. Again, joinclab.com, register my guest, Todd Rosales, or use the code CLAB100. We'll get you in for free. Folks, it is so much better for you to be in the Zoom meetings for these panels. You can watch them on Facebook. Yes, you can have them up in the background. But when we can wrangle all these experts into a single room for you, whether that room is physical or virtual, you want to be there and you want to be able to ask questions and you want to see what they have to say for yourself. It's going to be a lot of fun. You should definitely check it out. 6 p.m. Eastern. Other than that, I have no more announcements for you, so I'm very excited today. This week seems to be Tech Week, right? We had Jeremy Jacobs yesterday from Enlighten, and then today we have somebody who on the surface might seem like a delivery company, might seem like an e-com company, but at the heart and soul of what they do, they're a technology company. My guest today has been featured in publications much bigger than this one and been on shows that get a ton more circulation, featured in Forbes. I saw he had quoted an article on USA Today, Yahoo Finance, and all of these outlets that have a few more fans than we do. But like I said, he decided to come and talk to us today. Please welcome the CEO of Driven Deliveries, Christian Schenk. Christian, thanks for joining us, man.
Yeah, awesome, Todd. Thanks for having us. Appreciate it. And while maybe bigger audiences, but I doubt as good as this one.
Oh, of course not. We definitely have the quality audience. It's all about the quality over the quantity, right?
Absolutely.
Dude, I mean, you guys, listen, folks, at home, we've got 14 operating companies here in the state of Florida. We're not giving out any more licenses. As much as I love to feature our homegrown Florida companies, a lot of times I've got to go out of state to get somebody who is on the cutting edge of technology for this industry. Our friends out in California are there. And Christian, you, since joining Driven, have really been driving a lot of innovation in what you guys are doing, from just simply being a delivery platform to so much more. I'm sure you can tell it better than I can, but you've made 3 acquisitions with more on the way, and you're really expanding the platform and your capabilities. Talk to us about your experience since you've got there and really what you're doing in taking the helm.
Yeah, absolutely, Todd. It's been a hell of a ride. I mean, not gonna lie, we originally joined the business last May, so I'm pretty new to the cannabis industry, and I'll tell you that on the outside looking in, it's a lot easier than when you actually get in here and you have to try to figure out how you're going to quite literally put a square peg in a round hole in almost every facet of your business. And no different than banking or many other disparate mainstream industries. It's tough to find quality technology that you need to run your business, whether it's to manage the logistics side of getting products to consumers' houses, whether it's the compliance side and registering products at the state, or it's the front end e-commerce, or how we're going to handle our marketing or segmentation. All of these things, you got to go, either you got to build it or you're going to have to piece it together. And so we made some bets early on, and it's panned out for us. So we really built a foundation around technology, which has enabled us to scale in ways that we've seen in adjacent industries, and we're excited about it. Yeah, it's been a hell of a year.
Dude, I'm very happy that we were able to steal you down here, because I know you're Canadian born and you are helping our industry down here in the States versus your own home, home out in Canada. So I'm glad we're able to steal your talents, but I'm very intrigued for the next crop of leaders in this space, right? What's different about you than a lot of the people I've interviewed is you weren't one of the founders of the company. You were brought in to be the CEO and to ignite the next stage of growth for Driven. And you You've reported on financials, and you've done that. You guys are a publicly traded company. There's no secret that you're doing well. What's it like now to come into a space, take over when the founders are still there, and essentially just really execute on their dream and showing them your vision? Like, hey, I know where you are right now. We've been here in other spaces in similar industries. Trust me, this is the journey. And to get them to hand the keys of their baby to you to just pour, I hate using this analogy to say pour gasoline on the fire, because I don't want to talk about burning things down because it's growing, but you get where I'm going with this.
Yeah, absolutely. It's been interesting. When I got brought into Driven, it was a byproduct of, the organization had just gone through its initial offering to be a public company. It spent a fair amount of cash trying to figure out its identity, and it was born on the precipice of providing delivery services for dispensaries. So it wasn't selling products itself. It didn't necessarily have its own list of consumers. And the state of California, while really forward thinking on certain aspects, not so forward thinking on others. And so way before Lyft and Uber, the cannabis industry ran into challenges surrounding how labor forces were going to be attributed to cannabis, and the requirement surfaced on from a delivery perspective that the individual delivering the goods or selling the product had to be a W-2 worker for the license holder. And so that was a compelling shift in the regulatory environment here in California, and the business needed to, pivot. So we looked at, a lot of different ways. Could we organically go apply for licensing and put ourselves in a position where, we could just, essentially grow it, very as quickly as possible. And, the naivety for me coming in from the outside was like, yeah, let's just go and do that. It's a lot less expensive, a lot less disruptive. We know how to go and acquire digital consumers. How hard could it be? Well, it's pretty hard. And so, fast forward a month or two, we had completed our first acquisition, the second one right after that. We had announced the third in October of last year, and then it was about, we were right from there. It was like, let's skip right to technology and very quickly enable, a group of professionals here. They're employed at Driven, and we've got an engineering team who's been instrumental in creating, ERP for cannabis, specifically around delivery. But obviously we've been looking at expanding it into other verticals. But, from the outside looking in, it didn't look as hard as it actually was. But, the principles of business are the same. We needed to create something sustainable, something that we knew we could grow. And, cannabis as a whole, when you look at it, I mean, it's the history that's been born, in the black market per se, not necessarily legal enterprise. So keeping access of customer records. Like, we never saw, drug dealers back in the 70s keep a robust accounting record. So, we were really starting from scratch. And so we built something, really special. By January, we had completed the development or the foundation for what would be, the balance of our ERP, which included like routing, sequencing, resource assignment, the ability to assign drivers, marketing segmentation. We built out a loyalty engine, a coupon engine. The e-commerce front end had gone through a few iterations, and we were really at the point right when COVID hit that we were ready to catch the demand. And so, we applied the same principles we did in other industries. We're great at acquiring digital consumers. And as you can see in the track record, between in January, when we completed that development effort, we were about 300 deliveries a day. And today we're, 1,100 deliveries a day. And a very gradual, nice, healthy growth. The business has gone from when I got to Driven in May of last year, we had 11 employees, and we're sitting at 420 now. And, that's a lot of work. Yeah, it's been busy, but nevertheless, it's an industry full of great people. And I've met a lot of, very influential folks, and you do see the business starting to make its way into the industry a little bit more, prevalent than you maybe saw it 6 months ago or even more recently. So you'll see the maturity of the business come along, and with that, you'll see consolidation and all the goodies that come with that. So we're excited, and it's been a good ride.
Well, 100%. Listen, the industry was started by a lot of passionate people, and their passion takes you so far. There was a term taught to me by a mentor of mine a long time ago, and he said, nobody's as smart as all of us, right? And to take people who are, I think that's a standard one in the executive Rolodex of sayings, but, to take people who have the passion for cannabis and the cannabis knowledge and the cannabis experience and to merge those with successful business leaders that have experience in the business world and the traditional world, because that's not going away. Public markets are public markets, and the way that the world views you is very similar, right? So to take those two worlds and combine them is exactly what this industry needs to move forward, which is why, you know, there are some people out there, they want to take our industry and keep it close to the heart. And it's like, no, this is ours. We fought so long for it. We want to make sure that we protect it. And yes, we do want to make sure that everybody gets their opportunity to play, right? We want to make sure that people who fought the good fight and have been around and advocated, they get their recognition and they get their opportunity to finally monetize something that they fought for their whole life. There's nothing wrong with bringing in real professionals to make sure that these companies are done correctly, they're compliant, and that they're growing and they're going to be around here for a long time. Because at the end of the day, legalization doesn't mean shit if we're not going to have companies that are going to be able to be sustainable and support themselves, right? And I think you bring a wealth of experience to the table on that. I mean, your resume, dude, is incredible. You're a serial entrepreneur. I would almost say you're an entrepreneur addiction, right? You just company after company after company, and just listen. We only see the highlights in all the press and everything else. I'm sure you've had a couple of ventures that may not have gone the right way, you know, especially back in the ages of like 8, 9, 10 before you really got going. But dude, give us a little bit about your background, because it's incredible the success that you've had company after company.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that. We've, you know, I grew up with it. My father was an entrepreneur. Was an immigrant from Germany, moved to Canada. He tells the story, you know, $70 in a suitcase, and, you know, built some pretty special things and built some pretty special companies that fed a lot of families for a lot of years. And, you know, that's something that when you live through it, it becomes a part of you. And, you know, you have a relentless pursuit of, you know, building something that didn't exist before and having others see the value in it, and having them like having a consumer, especially today, be willing to open their wallet to provide you with funding to go do something that you do very uniquely to someone else is a great feeling. And, you know, once you figure out how to do it in one industry, it's not super hard to figure out how to do it in another. And I would say, you know, previous lives, you know, originally my first business was transportation technology. So we were building software and hardware solutions for enterprise transportation fleets. And from there, we got into the leasing business. We sold a company to, at the time, it was Daimler Chrysler, and then did another one in the very similar space, which we sold to a company in Minnesota, which later went public, and we sold it again to one of the divisions of Qualcomm, which was an interesting run. That was how I got, you know, originally tied out here into some of the contacts I have in the California markets. And from there, we bounced all over the place. We did some consulting and M&A work. We started another company, which is an advertising and attribution company targeted towards truck drivers, which we grew to, you know, about 840,000 American truck drivers, which is a very apprehensive audience as well. Not the most, you know, they're very vocal, willing to share, which is great, but they're also apprehensive in that, you know, they don't trust many people, which is great. So to earn the trust of that many people, you know, it was great. And we sold that business to a group in a publicly traded company in the Bay Area. And from there, got into the payment space. We did some fintech deployments for some gig economy workers, which was great. Our largest customer was Uber, 26 countries, which we later sold that business, and actually spent some time out in your neck of the woods building a fintech platform for the golf industry with some pretty cool golfers, which was great, and got to learn that side of the industry and what it's like to attract or acquire a little bit more affluent, or somebody's got a little bit more time on their hands per se, type audience, which was great as well. And then most recently, you know, following that was, you know, I made an investment into the cannabis space and specifically into Driven, and then joined the board. And, you know, I saw what the industry was doing from a maturity perspective, where it was in its life cycle, and saw that there was just so many opportunities to take the things that we had learned from the past, whether it's acquiring a customer that looks and feels like a truck driver, or acquiring a customer who looks and feels like, you know, quite literally some of the biggest legends in the game of golf, through being able to provide a solution to somebody that's depending on it for their livelihood, right? So facilitating their paychecks, right, is a big responsibility. Well, so is delivering people's medicine. And So
Yeah.
it was really like, how do we create a high degree of fidelity with a high degree of predictability, incredible, sense of, you know, being able to be consistent, which I think is what the industry was lacking. Was we wanted to bring consistency where consumers could come to us, get the same experience time in, time out. We'll bring them new stuff, but we'll always keep the stuff that they want, on hand. And then, delivery became I mean, it's no secret. Like Amazon has changed retail operations for the good and the bad, right? But it
Yeah.
is, I always say, like, if we're at a store, it's because we didn't plan properly and we couldn't wait for Prime to get here in 2 days. So, how we can get a consumer to show up to a brick and mortar dispensary, especially after a pandemic, was like a big gap in the industry. We just like, hey, you know what? The regulatory landscape is there. We know how to build the technology. We know how to go get the people from a marketing perspective. Let's take mainstream, e-commerce and bring it to the cannabis world. And we did it. And, now we're in just under 250,000 consumers registered on the platform. And, we're growing like a weed, no pun intended.
Dude, so the problem with this industry is it's hard to not run over the puns all the time. They just pop up left and right. A quick tangent. Call your buddies at the golf company, because I have a great idea for an app where I can actually tip the bad guys that take care of your bag at the end. Because now in today, we don't carry cash that often, especially during COVID times. I feel like such a jerk when I'm like, I'll get you next time. I don't have cash on me. Like, can I Venmo you or something? So, let's work on that. But taking us back into the cannabis space, man, I want to talk a little bit more about the business itself, because your model can't exist down here for us in Florida, right? We're 100% medical. The way that delivery works is they have to be an actual W-2 employee for the company that's going to do delivery. We have, the most similar thing we have down here is access through Jane, and Jane works with a few of the companies down here where they help coordinate the deliveries. But all they're doing, and I don't want to, downplay it, but what they're doing is they're just coordinating and getting into that dispensary system, and then they're taking it from there. You guys go so far with the Brand Buddy one. I looked that you actually have brands directly on their website where you can buy and put it in your cart. So this way you're actually enabling e-commerce for brands. Because I can tell you, I would leverage your platform as a cannabis tourist, if you will, right? When I come out to California, the individual dispensaries, their advertising doesn't reach me here in Florida, but because I'm in the cannabis community, the brands do. So when I make it out to California, It's not, I need to go to this place. It's, I want to try this product. And then you go to the product's website, and they have, so to give you an example, Curvana Ascend cartridges. Last year, 2 years ago, when I discovered them, I really liked them. For those of you in California, I don't go there often. If they're not the best, I don't really give a shit, okay? I liked them. So I wanted those cartridges, and there were certain strains I wanted, and they would tell me what dispensaries carried their cartridges, but it wouldn't tell me which ones they had, right? I imagine using a service like yours where I can actually figure out either A, get those specific products delivered to me, or B, which dispensary actually has the physical product I want, and go there and get it. So as a cannabis tourist, it seems like the perfect solution for someone like me.
It 100% is. And even, for those that are domiciled here in the state of California, I mean, the opportunity for a brand, like we go back and peel back our brand to consumer program, Brand Buddy, consumers have an affinity to a brand. It's a little bit different, but we often use the analogy. You're not going to go to Hostess or Lay's to buy a bag of potato chips, right? Yet, but you are going to go to Harry's and you're going to buy a razor, and then you're going to get another one in the mail all the time. And you're going to go to Amazon and you're going to subscribe to certain products that you otherwise wouldn't subscribe to. So consumer behavior is changing, and convenience is king. And now convenience and safety is king. And so being able to provide really two things to a brand partner. One is, give them the ability to provide a service directly to the customer. And we take it a step further. It's not just what's available, in stock. It's what can we give you in 60 minutes, right? We're statewide, 92% of the state in 60 minutes. It's like getting a hot pizza to your door. But there's also, in the event that we may not have it, chances are we can deliver it to you tomorrow. And then so it becomes about, more ways to connect the consumer to the products they want. And that's important to the brands. The second thing is the brands have always traditionally gone to market through a dispensary, right? So the reason Lay's and Hostess don't have a whole ton of consumers showing up at their doorstep asking them, where to buy potato chips is because people always went to Target, right? Well, unfortunately, there's less and less people going to dispensaries or brick and mortar, and these companies, these brands are left with very little digital relationship with their consumers. I mean, they're maybe doing a little bit of social media. Their websites are typically afterthoughts, maybe a locate here, where to go buy button, but that's not enough anymore. And they need to know who their consumers are. They need to know how they buy, how they want to buy, which type of people are buying what products, so that they can more accurately either A, build products for those consumers, or B, know which content or products to put in front of what people. Not everybody wants the same thing. So we see that as a huge opportunity, and the convenience of online is not new to Americans, definitely not California here. And, the sooner the better. It's the nature of the beast, so we were 90 minutes, a 90-minute service at the end of Q1. And we're like, now we can get this to 60 minutes, and who knows where we're going to go from here.
That's awesome. I want you to get to the point where I can place a pizza delivery and a delivery from you at the same time, and then ask all my friends to bet on which one's going to come first.
There you go. Let me know when you do it so I can make sure you win. We're going to, we're doing a lot of stuff on that front too. So as we think about creating a better buying experience and a better user experience for consumers, it's no secret, often after consumption of cannabis comes consumption of pizza. And so we're now working with some pretty mainstream players on tying out availability of offers and discounts directly to the consumers post-delivery, to be able to here's an offer for Domino's, and it's, 25% off, and you get it conveniently right when you want it. And so again, it's a game of putting good content, relevant content in front of the right people.
So from what I'm curious about from a licensing standpoint, are you guys distributing directly from wholesale or directly from brands, or are you going through a dispensary network? Because that's the part that can't exist here in Florida right now, actually, right, in both models.
So we have, in the state of California, there's what's called a non-storefront retail license, and that we look our facilities. We have right now 3 warehouses throughout the state. We're working on a 4th one right now, as I mentioned. And we can deliver statewide out of those facilities. Now, to a brand, from a compliance perspective, we look like a dispensary. We're just a really big one that buys a lot of stuff. We place orders Mondays and Thursdays, and we turn inventory every 5 days, which is really quick. That's a lot quicker than a dispensary typically does. And we're, for the most part, in the top, the largest customers some of these brands have. If not, we're in the top 3. And so what we do is we work with those brand partners to make sure that either if they're self-distributing, that they can get it to us, on a weekly or intra-week basis, where we're taking deliveries more than once a week, or that their distributors can. And for us, that's important because we always want to have the latest and greatest. We want to have fresh inventory. But we also want to turn it as quick as we can, because we're in the business of making money. We don't want stuff sitting around. And so we have the benefit here in California, and in certain other markets you can do this too, where we can have a retail license but merely provide the service of delivery to the consumers versus having them walk in.
Dude, I'm so jealous of the capabilities that you guys have out in California. I mean, I look at the experience this way, right? For a lot of people, they're going to go into dispensaries to discover new stuff, to check out, to talk to the bartender, to get educated, right? Even those of us that have a ton of experience, there's new stuff coming out in cannabis every day, right? We've all used it for quite some time. I read your experience, 16 years old, after Dazed and Confused, great movie. And, we're still educating ourselves. Like cannabis beverages all of a sudden are out. I have no clue the difference between can and the Sierra Nevada beer and all that different stuff. I don't even think it's Sierra Nevada, it's somebody else. But, all these new products that are coming out that I want to go talk to somebody about. But in the given progress of my day, when I get to a point where I, for the most part, know what I want, it's nice to have a portal to go on, boom, place the delivery, and know it's going to be there from an hour to 24 hours is a great experience. And then I imagine on the other side of it with brands, that, like you said, to me, it's one of the best platforms that you can launch a new product on, right? So going back to real world examples, and you'll see the struggles I go through as being an outside consumer here. When Lowell dropped the cold pressed cannabis pen, I went on a little vape testing spree for a while. I wanted to go find it, and I had to be out in California. Again, I knew every dispensary over there basically carried Lowell products, but they didn't tell me which one had the pen. So that was, from what I can tell here in my island in Florida, looking to the outside California market, that was a pretty big product launch for them. And there's not a single platform where they could have launched that on. Now there is. So I can see a lot of potential there as well.
That's absolutely true. You know, one of our good brand partners in the beverage space, just to use that as an example, Rebel Coast, which is part of the BR Brands Group. They're available in multiple states too. They own Mary's Medicinal and Defonce Chocolates. They're a great group, really smart, and build great products. When they were looking to launch their new individual self-serve, they were individual serve seltzer drinks, and they were launching on 5-6 different flavors, and they used to have large format wine bottles, and they're like, we want to get this product statewide and see how the marketplace reacts, and we want to go reach a bunch of people that bought it before, and or people who've had a higher propensity to buy beverages, and they could go and try to negotiate with 300 dispensaries to offer a similar promotion to try it. They could try to get the product into those stores at some sort of synchronized manner so they'd all be available at the same time. They could try to control the message. They could try to control the placement, but the reality is they can't. And so within a couple of weeks, like that's what not even like it is, we could launch it in a day, but from the inception of the partnership surrounding the launch, we were up and running very quickly. We launched it statewide over the 4th of July, got a ton of great engagement, a lot of sales. I think we sold to 11 or 1,200 people in the first few days across the whole state. And then we were able to bring them back a bunch of information, specifically data on people who bought it and who bought what and how much did they buy and where did they live and all these kind of things, which gave us a bunch of intelligence on who's going to buy what next time. And about a week later, they worked with us. We sent out a what did you think survey. We got them even more feedback. Was the THC levels good? Which flavor did you like the best? Would you recommend it to friends? Did you think the size was too big, too small? And they used that data to figure out what to go build next and how much of it, which was something that they couldn't, it would take them a half a year to get data like that back from a dispensary, never mind 300 of them. And then working very closely with them on things like buy it again campaigns and starting to help build that loyalty, pushing people to their website, not necessarily ours. It's unheard of. And so as we look at the industry, we think creating a digital relationship with the consumer for a brand is a home run, and we're investing in it. And we think it's a great way for us to get, more loyalty to us and more loyalty from the industry. This is a small industry, smaller than any of the other ones I've been in. And we want to provide a lot of value, and we don't want to just be the retailer that's known for taking a disproportionate amount of gross margin. We want to be known as the retailer that helped the brand get smarter, grow, and ultimately build a better relationship with their customers.
It's awesome. And the observation that I make is from 2015 to 2020, the cannabis industry has come. I'm trying to think of the word here, but essentially what it took traditional retail hundreds of years to evolve through, the cannabis industry went from 2015 to, hey, I can open a dispensary and I've got jars on my shelf and you can smell it and I can sell it to the bleeding edge of technology in retail. I mean, looking at companies like you and companies like Jeremy's company yesterday, we talked to Enlighten. I mean, between your two organizations, you're going to be responsible for launching the national brands, the ones that are actually going to be the Budweisers and Molson Coorses of our industry, right? Because you're going to have that reach. So on that note, because I'm extremely jealous of all the people that you serve in California, when are you going to start exploring other states, moving out? I know that nobody really has the mature market that California has, except maybe Colorado, but even there, just deliveries now coming to the forefront. So, it was a perfect storm for you to create what the model should be in California. And now hopefully you can help every other state get to where that is.
Yeah, no, it's a great point. And, a lot of negative fallout from COVID-19, but, some of the positive to pull from it is, a lot of jurisdictions and states, opened up some of those regulations to allow for delivery during the pandemic because it is a medicinal product and it helps a lot of people, and it was deemed an essential service here in California and a few other markets, including up in Canada and in certain provinces. So, being able to expand out of state is right on the forefront for us. So while we're focused here in California, we do have two major growth initiatives. One is bringing some of our own brands, think of it more like a Kirkland at Costco type thing to the menu, to be able to create a little bit more of a predictability in supply chain for certain aspects and certain segments of the market. But then it's out of state expansion. And we look at some markets like Michigan, Illinois, Oregon, Massachusetts is a great market. Would love to get into Florida when they're ready. We see Arizona.
We'd love to have you.
Yeah, when it's ready, we're going to be there. And, you know, there's no shortage of opportunity. And I do believe the pandemic accelerated some of those regulatory aspects where delivery is going to be on the forefront. It is there now. And in some major new markets with high demand early in their life cycle, like Illinois, Michigan, it's, you know, January, it's going to be a very popular way for people to, you know, to get their products. And I will tell you, while the delivery part, the logistics is a bit tough, it's hard to recruit, you know, 350 drivers for sure. Never mind, they're all W-2 workers and it's complex and hard and it's an economies of scale game for sure. But the marketing is incredibly tough. Like in addition to the regulatory aspects we face on who's selling what to whom and where and, you know, what labels say, and, you know, there's no shortage of regulations, is there's a significant restriction on advertising. I mean, we can't use Facebook or Instagram. We can't launch Google ads. You know, we're limited to very few areas. And so we have to use a high degree of creativity, landing pages, all sorts of neat and clever identities to really find consumers and use them as part of the growth. And a lot of it is derivative-based marketing to explaining to people what are the effects of this going to have on them. And you know, doing that, we've been able to attract not just new customers to our platform, but we've been able to bring people to cannabis that have not used it. And they haven't, there's a nostalgia, even here in California, which is probably, in my opinion, one of the most mature markets, certainly from a CPG perspective and fit and finish. Colorado's been doing a lot longer. But with that, you know, we've got an opportunity where, you know, you got a consumer who's not willing to walk into a brick and mortar dispensary that may not be in the best neighborhood. But I mean, they're buying stuff online every single day, sometimes multiple times a day. So being able to give them the information they need digitally, like here's what's going to happen if you try this. This is the effects of this, sativa versus indica versus hybrid. And here's some alternatives to, you know, flower or vape is like, look at beverages, look at edibles, tinctures, and topicals. There's an endless supply of ways to consume and the benefits are endless. And I'll tell you as an outsider, not buying all of it, sitting on the outside, being here, experiencing it, it's very real. And, you know, the testimonials we get back from our customers that we can regurgitate out to new people who are looking to try, it's helping us bridge that gap. It's helping us bring people to the plant, which is growing the industry, and it's helping the consumers who are looking for help. It's been great.
You know, outside of the nonprofit world, I've never been in a nonprofit, but I've spoken to many of them. I've never seen an industry where the people within an organization are so passionate about what they do every day. I haven't talked to a single person who works for a cannabis company that's like, oh, my job sucks. Can't wait till 5 o'clock to get off of it. It just doesn't exist. Like people they're taking pay cuts to take jobs that they're overqualified for because they just want to get into the industry. There are idiots who set up studios in their house in Florida and started podcasts just to get into the industry, right? So, exactly. You know, it's got to – listen, I'm sure that you had a ton of passionate people when you built your businesses, but I can't imagine that you've ever had a workforce like the one that you have now that everybody just loves what they do and they love the industry that they're in.
Never. I've never, ever experienced anything like this. And I'll also tell you, it's an industry with infinite demand. Like it's people, you know, there's a respect for it that it's hard to articulate, but people, you know, they're going to buy the product, whether they buy it from you or someone else. And so when they can entrust it to you and you do a good job and they come back and you build this relationship with them, which, you know, over time, it's not all digital. I mean, you look at our social feeds and you look at, you know, engagement in our mobile app, Weedwaves, and you look at how, you know, our customer service are interacting with customers on an ongoing basis, or, you know, how we're talking with doctors and how we're helping patients find the right mix of whatever. And it's no different on the staff side. I mean, we work a disproportionate amount of hours here. I mean, we got a big job to do and we have a lot of people counting on us, but, you know, it is very normal that, you know, our operation is from 9 in the morning till 10 o'clock at night. it is very normal for us to be leaving here at 9:30 at night after getting here at 7:38 in the morning. And everybody from technology engineers to the attorney, to people in marketing, to those that are helping customers are still here. And they're not complaining. It's not like you're shoving work down their throat. These aren't projects. These are people helping people or building something that no one's ever built before for the purposes of helping people get something that, you know, is pretty earth shattering and new. And it's a great feeling. I'll tell you, being in some of those other segments or industries before, it's tough to recruit people. It's a lot easier to recruit people in cannabis. I'll echo what you had said, people willing to come and work for less, you know, good example is yours truly here. But, you know, there's a high degree of loyalty that people bring as everything is so new and the industry's figuring it out together, that there's a high degree of respect, whether it's competitors, you know, like my biggest competitor's Ease. And I think they're great people. I think they have an awesome platform. I think their employees are great. We have a close relationship with them. We help them, collaborate with them in any way possible, and they us. And that's unheard of. Like other industries, it's like, man, if you have a chance to take your competitor down, go for it. In this industry, it's like, how can we help them help more people, right? And that's special. You can't repeat that. I've never seen that before.
No, I think there's going to be a point at some point in the future where we're going to get, you know, the traditional business feuds are coming back and everything else, but I don't think we're there yet. I think everybody kind of has this common goal where it's, you know, our industry is not a given yet. It's not legal across every state. It's not federally legal. There's not standardized regulations across all states. Every state operates differently and some drastically different than others. You know, some of us want to be California. Some of us want to be Colorado. Some of us want to figure out what the model is. I don't know if it's the politicians want to get the credit for coming up with the perfect cannabis model or whatever it is, but our industry is not a given, which is why I kind of see this co-opetition. And you're not the first CEO to say like, hey, I work with my competition. I mean, it's very often that a lot of the MMTCs here in Florida get together behind the scenes and like, hey, we've got to work together for the betterment of the industry as a whole, right? And like you said, you don't see that anywhere else, which is absolutely incredible. Dude, I mean, the reason I started this podcast is because I'm a fan of the industry, right? Because the entrepreneurs in this space, the people like you had mentioned it, your traditional marketing does not work in this space, right? I have this funny like image in my head of you talking when they brought you on as CEO and you take out and here's my marketing playbook. It's worked for me all the time. We've crushed it. You guys are going to use that. And the person across the table throws it away and says, yeah, that doesn't work in this industry. You know, you got, and then to put that in front of an entrepreneur like you're like, all right, well, I'm going to figure out a way to make it work. And you do all this organic growth. And now you guys have the platform Weedwaves as well, too. Talk to us a little bit more about that, because I remember you and I spoke about it a few weeks ago, and it's like an all-encompassing ecosystem for the cannabis community.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. I stood across from a lot of people and said, hey, we're going to go and we're going to dominate. We're going to run all these Facebook ads. We're going to do this digital acquisition of all these consumers. And like, you can't do that. You can't do this. You can't do that. Like, well, no, we can't do it the way that we've done it in other industries, but there's got to be a way to go do it. And, you know, we peeled the onion back. We found a way to reach consumers in a very unique way. We towards the middle end of last year, we launched, again, one of the first initiatives on the technology side was to create a platform where we could acquire customers using mainstream media. And so Weedwaves was born, and it's a mobile app for cannabis enthusiasts. It's available on iOS and Android. And there's the opportunity for people to stay up to date on current news. So if you're like me and you want to know what's going on in the industry, the good, the bad, and the ugly, we've got a news feed for that. So you can literally watch every single press release that references cannabis out there, and you can, stay in the know. There's a tab that outlines deals and discounts offers. So things that people buy every day, which isn't specific to cannabis. We got discounts on, pizza, through tires, golf courses. I mean, you name it. There's over 300,000 local merchants offering, discounts to the audience in there. And then we have a social feed, which is where people can stay up to date on, our social, different handles that we have, but also those of our participating brands. And then lastly is like an explore feature where people can start to learn about cannabis and all the different categories, whether it's beverages or concentrates or vape or flower or pre-rolls, doesn't matter. they can go through that and they can navigate and learn. And if they want more information or to buy, it's going to link them out of the app to one of our stores. And so it really creates a good continuity for somebody to, stay apprised of what's going on, but also like, it has given us the opportunity to bring in a very targeted consumer. And yeah, at last check, about 27% of the people who've downloaded Weedwaves have since bought, product from either Buddy or Gone to Runner from our online stores. So it's
Very
been
cool.
a catalyst for growth.
I'd be interested to know how many people are outside of California that could be affecting your rate just because it's a great app. I mean, I can't buy anything on it.
There's quite a bit. Yeah, we've got a lot of users out of state for sure.
So you and I, before the camera started rolling, and it's always fun to reference that, we were talking about the potential of this industry and the growth and everything else that it's seeing. It's really cool to me that you get to be in a place where most of the country is worrying about keeping its doors open. We've been deemed essential. Our business is growing. The industry is growing. People are buying more. It's actually put us right at the forefront of people's minds. And I think this is a time for cannabis to shine. But I think one of the cool things that you're doing is you guys are actually taking that as an advantage to help the community and stuff too. I read that you guys are helping local restaurants with putting ad placement on packaging and on different places within your ecosystem. And that's got to be an awesome feeling to know, like, hey, I know that I'm benefiting from this, but I'm going to give back to the community, because without the community, we wouldn't be here. And I think that's so cool that you guys are doing that. Talk to us about how you're helping all the local restaurants and everything else.
Yeah, no, great. It is a great thing. We started it very early, like right when the whole COVID-19 shelter in place orders came into effect. As you recall, it was very aggressive in the beginning, especially here in California. It was like everything is down, stay home. And slowly as things came back online, restaurants were deemed essential if they could deliver. But it was so hard for so many of these restaurants to get the word out that they were going to try to participate, right? And I mean, there's the Grubhubs and DoorDashes and these services out there, which are definitely a great catalyst for them to, try to gain some awareness. But there was nobody who was actually reaching the consumers that were right in their neighborhood with something very organic. And, we have, 350 drivers across the state. We deliver, thousands of product or deliveries every day. And we know where these consumers are. We know where the restaurants are that are near them. And so we really just saw an opportunity and we did this free of charge for our consumer or for our neighbors and merchants was, give us, whatever ad you want to put. And if you're, within 10 miles or 5 miles, I don't remember what it was. I think it was 5 miles of that, whatever customer we're delivering to, they're going to get a flyer in their bag, which was, it's not invasive. It's not annoying. It was just like, hey, these are 6 restaurants that are looking for your help. We're delivering your goods and, they're looking for your help too. And oh, by the way, they have delivery too, or you can pick it up. And it started like that and it really snowballed and more merchants got on board. And now we've actually, as of late, we branded the program. It's called Buddy Drop. And you can look it up. It's buddydrop.com. And we actually now have expanded the program to further help. So as we've provided these like little postcards that the restaurants can include inside, well, I'm using restaurants as an example, but we have everything from bowling alleys to movie theaters and or outdoor, the drive-ins. We have breweries, anybody who's really open, dry cleaners, they're all participating. And they essentially just stick one of these postcards inside their bag or put them at the point of sale, and they have unique codes on them. And every time somebody buys, we actually pay the merchant. So we're actually paying for that referral, and we're giving them a way to, meet new people. And then reciprocally, we're still including their advertisements out in some of our communication to the customer, which is great. So it's a win-win.
Dude, that's so cool. And no, I would not be upset at all if you had a menu in my bag, and especially as a place that I wanted to try or didn't know. So it's certainly not invasive. I mean, listen, the whole conversation that we've had, I look at Driven as a technology company that just happens to focus on cannabis. It seems like that's what you guys are doing. Even the way that you're growing through acquisition. I mean, for people who don't know, a lot of major tech companies, they don't do a ton of in-house R&D anymore. I know that you guys aren't exactly the same, but R&D comes in the form of acquisition and investment for the most part. These days they'll maybe either back a startup company and then ultimately acquire them, or they'll acquire a company based on a need of the bigger organization. And I don't know the exact details of what your acquisitions and everything else, but it seems that's kind of the path that you're going on. You're filling needs as you go, and everything that you're doing just makes sense. One thing complements another, and that's an incredible journey. And I think it's the future of our industry. Is we had a lot of great founders, and they got us the most of the way there, and now we're going to get a bunch of people who are going to come in, figure out how to marry the right companies and make these powerful companies that are really going to make this industry a mainstay. What we talked about a lot of the things you've done so far, but you've crushed it through a pandemic. Eventually things are going to get back to normal, we hope. What can we expect from you in the future for the rest of the year and beyond?
Yeah, it's a great question. So, you're right. We're always looking at new innovative ways to bring more convenience to the consumer and more options. Brand Buddy is a good example of that, providing more value to the brand partners and giving the consumers yet again another way to acquire a product, and to do so without being distracted by 1,000 other products. From here, we've got ambitions. We're going to be launching a virtual bud tender program, which would be available and fully integrated into our e-commerce store. So as consumers are looking for a little bit of insight, they may not want to pick up the phone, somebody can walk them through that visually and show them products, and hey, try this, and the bud tender can actually add them to the cart, and then the checkout process is fully integrated. We're looking at, we've recently deployed, in the process of deploying refrigeration units in the vehicle. So we're delivering beverages cold. So we're now taking on demand. We're saying, hey, we'll bring it to you at the beach. And, we're going to be getting into a little bit more of the value chain and beyond to, it's cannabis now. We got a little bit of accessories or swag that we're going in there, but we're going to help connect consumers with, other things they need, right? So a good example is pizza, right? Food. We've been helping merchants reach consumers. We're going to tie that out and make it even easier. We're going to be launching, once the industry comes back again a little bit more. We were close to pulling the trigger on this when the restaurants first reopened, but part of the Buddy Drop program is we'll be able to have deliveries facilitated in a scheduled manner to a local merchant. So when you're checking out at the store and you typically are like, deliver it to my house, or one of your saved locations, there's a drop down. It's like, deliver it to a Buddy Drop. And a Buddy Drop is, Bill's Chicken Wing down the street. It's the bowling alley. It's the coffee shop. And inside that point of interest is a discount. So it's like, go get half off your chicken wings and we'll deliver your cannabis to you between 2 and 3. And the more people that buy and have their order delivered to that Buddy Drop, the more discounts everybody gets. So it's incentivizing people like, hey, get all your buddies, go get it delivered to Bill's Chicken Wings. 10 people, it's 10%, 20 people, 20%. And by the end of the year, we're going to have private parties too. So the more you buy, you can invite people to your private party, and they buy. And the more people that buy, the more they save. So we're going to make it easier for people to find us. We'll make it easier for people to buy. We'll make it easier for them to save money, easier for them to learn and interact with products, while sitting at home in their pajamas. And we're going to continue to help the community and our employees and everybody around us as much as we can.
Dude, I don't even want to talk to you anymore, man, because of the capabilities that you guys have out there. That's incredible. Listen, nothing against the delivery. We're perfect. We're medical here. I place a delivery today. It comes tomorrow. It comes the day after. And I'm blown away by that. The capabilities you have in California are incredible. I'm jealous because I was supposed to be in California this summer, but I would love to see you guys do a partnership. This is very selfish of me, with somebody like the Comedy Store, the Laugh Factory. And they might blow your inventory out there. But yeah, that would be absolutely incredible to say, hey, go online and deliver it to the Comedy Store. I'll meet you outside, and then I'm going to go have a hell of a good time on the inside. So
yeah, you're 100% right. We actually have an interesting program we're going to be launching. I can't drop the names, but a celebrity brand that has not yet been launched yet here in the state of California, very well known, where there's going to be an induction into the Hall of Fame happening on November 7th. We're facilitating the after party, which is going to be all virtual. So throughout the state of California, people can participate. They can buy tickets with product. It'll be statewide, and as people deliver it, either the day before or that day, it's up to the consumers. And then they'll all log in at the same time, and they'll be having kind of this online session with, the celebrity, and going through the after party, being inducted into the Hall of Fame. And it's going to be absolutely powerful. And it's having people be able to consume together and have those experiences individually, and have us be able to facilitate it. It's going to be pretty awesome.
Dude, I mean, traditional retailers have to be salivating when they hear some of the things that you guys are doing. And like I said, this industry and people like you, it's taking it to the bleeding edge of technology. These are just, I mean, that's the equivalent of the things that Fortnite is doing. And it's, look how long it took that industry to get there, and you guys are doing it already. I'm out of words. I'm jealous. And this has been a hell of a conversation, man. I can't wait to get out to California. I want to try. I might need to spend like 2 weeks in California just so I can like pop around, be like, deliver it to me here, deliver it to me there. I'm over here now. This is what I want. These are the products I want. Like, I'm going to play like Stump Driven if I can. Maybe that's going to be a new game show.
Yeah, I'm game. Let's do it. Let's try to figure it out. We're excited. I think when you do find your way out here, whenever that happens, make sure you look us up, and I'll give you all the hot spots of where to go and get tangled up and do a lot of fun. But there's no shortage of opportunity in this space, and there's no shortage of great people, and it's just putting the two together. And we're here for the ride. It's gonna be fun,
dude. That's awesome, and thank you so much for doing the show. I know you're a busy dude. I appreciate you spending your time with us. I know that you've got a lot of responsibilities there at Driven. Probably going to be there for another 10 hours tonight, but I appreciate you sitting down with us, and I promise you I will hit you up when I get out there. I need to do a West Coast trip when things open back up, and just do all these in person, man. Sit with you right there in the conference room and have some fun.
Can't wait. Well, Todd, we really appreciate it. Thank you for including me, and anything we can do to help you, your listeners, you know where to find us. Looking forward to it. Thanks so much.
Actually, yeah. Do you want to drop the websites where people, obviously Weedwaves, people download it on iOS and Android, everything else, the websites, social media handles?
Yeah, absolutely. So our one of our retail stores, ganjarunner.com. Another one is Buddy, BUDEE.org. And then our corporate governing body is Driven Deliveries, and you can find us at drvd.com, and DRVD is our stock symbol as well. So yeah, hit us up. We're on all the social platforms that you could think of. So hopefully you can hunt us down and we can get connected.
I feel a name change coming to like Driven Technologies in the near future, but you don't have to drop that.
Yeah, well, you never know. It's been out there.
All right. Well, I appreciate it, Christian. Thank you so much for joining us, and thank you everybody at home. We're not going to be live tomorrow, but we do have the panel at 6 p.m. Check it out, facebook.com/Canada Business Group. This has been another episode of Elevate Your Grind, and we will see you next week.
Awesome.